So we are going to see some prize cards. Let's keep a note of these. Histurian, Heavy Ball, Comfey, Iron Hands, Cramorant, Sandshrew, Chi-Yu. So we've got some interesting one-offs there for both players. But it looks like Azul is starting us off here in our Stockholm Regional Finals. The winner will take it all, $10,000 and auto invitation to Worlds and 200 CP. But I think that was just a top deck and pass from Hermanni.
Oh, Hermanni there not having a great start, and it is worth noting there is only one Cramorant in the deck. It is a great early game attacker. It's gone, and there's only one Hisuian Heavy Ball, and that's also in the prizes. There will be no Cramorant at the beginning of this game. So Azul, look, it's control. It's Snorlax control. Azul's not going to do much on every turn. Couple of things. Some of the turns I saw in Azul's top 4 game were incredibly quick. Going to be a little more in these early turns, but it is going to be a case of set up a little bit, get some draw going with Rotom. You want to have a tool maybe on the Snorlax, give a little bit of extra protection. But outside of that, it is going to be a slow game. Azul wants to grind this game down. Hermanni really wants to just get set up, take quick prizes, and go to game 2.
So it's probably worth noting. Let's have a quick rundown of both players' decks. Azul on the left is playing a Snorlax block deck. Will look to lock stuff in the active because your opponent's active cannot retreat while Snorlax is there. Azul will not be taking many prize cards for the most part. Instead, he'll be looking to deck out Hermanni. So if Hermanni hasn't got a card to draw at the start of his turn, he will lose the game and Azul will win. And Hermanni on the other side is playing a Lost box deck. Wants to get cards in the Lost zone to activate Mirage Gate so you can start throwing out big damage.
Yeah, there's certain points when you get 4 cards in the Lost Zone, Cramorant can attack for free. When you get 7 cards in the Lost Zone, you can use that Mirage Gate item card to accelerate 2 energy from your deck. And when you get 10 cards in the Lost Zone, you can use Sableye to drop 12 damage counters for just a single energy. So, we've got Azul here, we've got Snorlax, we've got Rotom for draw. And, I mean, honestly here, like I say, get a tool, and it does look like we've got an Arven coming down here for a Pokegear and a Forest Seal Stone. Forest Seal Stone, of course, phenomenal. Lets you search for any card in your deck. Must be on a Pokemon V, but, of course, Rotom will fit the bill very nicely indeed.
It really will, and worth noting, Azul has some really powerful supporters that I want us to keep an eye out for. Eri is the first one, and you look at your opponent's hand, discard 2 items. Not only does it discard powerful items like Apex, which we have seen, and Azul did do that in top 4, but also gives hand knowledge for Azul, which is really, really impactful. We also want to keep an eye out for the Misfortune Sisters, which let you look at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck and discard any items, as Azul does end the turn with an instant charge from Rotom, letting you end your turn and draw 3. Over to Hermanni.
And like we said, Azul did almost nothing on that turn. You got 2 Snorlax and a Rotom, no energy, no tools, but there's enough to get moving with in future turns. It really is up to Hermanni here, to just see what they can establish on this first turn. We do have a Nest Ball, and there is Chorus's Experiment in hand. Sometimes, when you have a terrible just draw past turn 1, it's because you're waiting to play a supporter on turn 2. Yep. Hermanni does look like it's not quite as bad as we might have feared.
No. And it looks like we are going to see that Nest Ball concluding. Roaring Moon inactive, not the greatest Pokemon to have inactive, but it's worth noting that Hermanni does have a lot of switching cards. 4 copies of Switch Card, 3 copies of Switch, and Prime Catcher as well. So, traditionally, the Snorlax decks don't really like switching cards, and as we said, Hermanni does play a few of them, so an interesting counter to the counter, as it were, and I want you to keep an eye out on those switching cards.
Yeah, we're going to have to try as much as we can to keep track of those switching cards, see how many of them have hit the discard as we go through the game. We are going to try and keep a count. We cannot promise it's going to be perfect, but it is important to keep a real track. There's 3 Switch, 4 Switch Card, and 1 Prime Catcher. They are going to be absolutely crucial. We saw in the top 8 game with Azul, it was Prime Catcher. That's pretty easy to keep track of.
Yeah.
Especially in game 2, where Azul hit it like immediately. So that really took a lot of the suspense out of that game. It's much, much easier. If you can just switch KO, switch KO, switch KO, you can actually get through a game like this. It's why Lost Box has an easier time into Snorlax control than something like Charizard or Chen Pao, for instance, which, honestly, Azul love. I mean, Azul was just loving his top 4 matchup.
Yeah.
Snorlax against Chen Pao, that is a good one. Oh, Hermanni copying Azul's homework here, going and getting a Rotom V of his own.
Interesting. So I was just chatting to some of Hermanni's friends about this Rotom V inclusion, and they just simply said, well, at the start of the game, if you're dead drawing, Rotom just, draws you some cards. I'm like, well, to be fair, that makes perfect sense to me. So instant charge, letting Hermanni end his turn and draw 3 if he so desires. 1 retreat cost, not too hard to move out the active, provided Snorlax isn't in the active, of course. But yeah, it's come up real clutch there for Hermanni so far. So I'm not surprised to see it hit the board there.
Yeah, it's not something we generally tend to see in these lost box builds, but it is something which can help you get a bit of extra consistency. And look, if we see an unusual inclusion and it's in a deck in the final, I tend to believe it's pretty good. Now, we do see Colress's experiment coming down. There is a Colress's experiment for the following turn in there, but then there's also some cards like Super Rod, and there's a Switch and a Forest Seal Stone.
You could even argue Lost Vacuum is really important for removing those sort of denial tool cards that Azul plays, like Defiance Vest. You could make the argument there, every one of those 5 cards is super important in this matchup. This is a tough decision.
Yeah, I almost want to get rid of the Super Rod here. Oh, we see 1 switch going into the Lost Zone. We're going to add that to our count, and that tells you how important those other cards were. Switching cards are how you beat Snorlax. Having to get rid of one of them early is bad, but you just said the Lost Vacuum, very important. You got your tool for the your supporter card for the following turn, very important. There's only so many things you can get rid of. Now, a slow start for Hermanni here, but actually, it's not the end of the world.
No.
When you're against Snorlax, you do have a couple turns to set up if you need them.
Yes, not super on the clock. As a Hermanni does end the turn there with an instant charge. Azul will play a Pokegear, grabs an Eri. Goodness gracious me, that Eri can be terrifying. Letting you look at your opponent's hand and discard up to 2 items you find there. And Hermanni's hand is pretty big. Hasn't played a lot, but there's a good few cards in there. Here comes that Eri Ross. Let's see what it can hit. Oh, we saw the switch was just taken, actually. Oh, my goodness.
A switch hit the Lost Zone.
Yeah, but there's one in hand as well.
Oh,
and there's a switch card. Oh no, switch card looks like being eyed up from Azul, going to get sent straight to the discard pile before Hermanni gets a chance to play them.
I mean, basically, you go for Prime Catcher first, then switch card, then switch. They are your top 3 choices when you are looking for what to discard.
Oh, goodness.
And that's easy. So now we've got 2 switch and 1 switch card that are unavailable for Hermanni here. None in the prizes, incidentally, but there are 3 that have now been essentially taken off of the board.
Wow.
And we only had 8 to start with, so that is, wait a second, I can do this, 37.5%.
Wow. Shout out there for the quick maths. Love to see that. Worth noting as well, one of those which will need to get played to get that Roaring Moon out of the active. That's not a card we realistically want to be attacking with, as Azul is going to play a Power Pad to shuffle in the Eri. And I think there's an Erica's Invitation as well. Worth noting, we haven't discussed that Erica's yet. That can be a terrifying card again. Letting you look at your opponent's hands and getting that hand knowledge. But if you find a basic Pokemon there, not only can you force it into play, but you can also switch it into the active. And when Snorlax is in your active, that Pokemon will not be able to retreat.
No, it's not ideal, frankly.
No.
But that's what you do. And we see Azul also plays Mantine here.
Yep.
So if you just discard Pokemon, well, they can be brought out of the discard with Mantine, but Hermanni can actually Lost Zone Pokemon.
Yep.
And if you Lost Zone a Pokemon, that is the one place. In your hand, it's not safe. In the discard, it's not safe. In the Lost Zone, those Pokemon are safe from hitting the board, as we see another Chorus's Experiment coming down here. And, oh, did it actually get played, or is it just... No, it's not been played yet. It's there ready to use.
Yes.
Looks like we got Radiant Greninja. There we go. He went to play it, then he benched Radiant Greninja, and now he's playing it.
Prime Catcher's in that Colress Ross.
You've got to take the Prime Catcher.
But that means it could get Eri. There's a Super Rod there as well. But you're right, you have to take it, right?
But you don't have to show your opponent what you took.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Off of Chorus's Experiment.
Definitely not.
So, Poker Face, important for Hermanni here, because if you give away that Prime... We saw in Game 2, I believe, of Top 8, Azul knew Prime Catcher was in the hand, and, yeah, Eri came down well quick.
Eri very disruptive there, as Hermanni is going to now play that Nest Ball. Grab any basic Pokemon, pop it straight onto your bench. I mean, now is at 4 cards in the lost zone, so I would say Cramorant would be live, but I believe it was prized, so it won't be there anytime soon.
And Hisuian Heavy Ball also prized.
Heavy Ball as well.
So it ain't coming back from that, not anytime soon. We need to take some prizes before Cramorant comes out, and annoyingly, Cramorant is generally best for your early prizes.
Yes.
So that's slightly unfortunate, but never mind. We do with what we can. We'd love to get that Roaring Moon out of the active here.
Really? Oh, but this is a palm catcher, instant use. Going to bring up that Rotom V, get Comfey in the active, so Hermanni will be able to use his first flower selection of the game. Look at the top 2 cards, put 1 in your hand, 1 in the lost zone. Oh, maybe decided not to use it.
One downside here is you've already used your support for the turn. You've only got 4 in the lost zone. So that means you would need to have 3 flower selecting in order to bring your Mirage Gate onto the board. And if you've just used Prime Catcher as a switch and not as a way to switch while taking a prize, that is not the best use of your Prime Catcher.
No, it's really not. But I think, you know, Hermanni probably knows it's not safe to hold on to it either, because if a Rogue Airy comes down, it's now gone. Hermanni's going to use that Town Store to grab that emergency ball. I like that as 1 less card to draw into after this flower selecting. Was that Mirage Gate Super Rod? I think it might have been. There goes Mirage Gate. Is that a Super Rod?
Pokestop.
Pokestop.
It was a Pokestop. And with no Snorlax in the active, that board can actually be attached to Comfey to give free retreat, and you will get value out of it now with no Snorlax currently in the active. So there we go, and that is exactly what we are going to see. But no second Comfey, unfortunately. So it does look like we're just bringing Roaring Moon back into the active. And the hope here is that you can keep Rotom in the active for a turn or 2, buy yourself some time.
I think Hermanni might be debating whether to play that Lost Vacuum to get to 7 in the Lost Zone. I'll activate Mirage Gate, and then Calamity Storm could be live. If there's a Stadium still, could get rid of the emergency board. We do. So that's 7 cards in the Lost Zone. Mirage Gate is now live. If Hermanni has a basic energy and Mirage Gate in hand, we could see a Calamity Storm for a big KO, and Hermanni will take his first prize cards in this final.
And we do have a Mirage Gate. 1 got Lost Zone, but 1 is in hand, and there is a basic energy in hand.
There we go.
But it needs to be a Darkness energy in hand, because Mirage Gate has to get different types of energy. Yes. So you get a Darkness and another, which counts as a colorless. You will need Darkness in hand, and I'm sure I saw a Water, but I don't know if I saw a Darkness. But you've got to think there is if you're going for this play. Yeah,
you'd have to imagine surely there is, otherwise you wouldn't be, well, I don't think we'd be confidently seeing these 2 ranges getting attached off this Mirage Gate. Hermanni also getting to shuffle the deck, have a look as well. Could see another Mirage Gate as well, even. That would get you there.
Yeah, second Mirage Gate would work. There comes a Sableye down onto the board. That could be a nice attacker. Second Mirage, there's only 1 Mirage Gate left now, but it doesn't matter because you've got the energy you need onto, I mean, presumably, the Psychic onto the Sableye would be the other choice here. So we've got your Roaring Moon. Sableye's ready to go once you've got 3 more in the Lost Zone. And the other thing is, not only can you take a KO of Calamity Storm, but if something like a Snorlax with Hero's Cape comes out, you're like, bam, Frenzy Gouging, got it.
Yeah, and I love that this Calamity Storm will discard that Town Store. It's actually a Stadium Azul could use for great effect, plucking out Bravery Charms, Hero Capes, Defiance Vest, all that business. But that Roaring Moon will be getting rid of the Town Store, demolishing it, you could say. And Hermanni takes his first 2 prize cards here in that Regionals Finals.
Yeah, in a very good position. And look, this is not a great, easy matchup for anybody. Snorlax is well annoying to play against. But there are still 4 switching options remaining for Hermanni here in this matchup. You've taken 2 prizes, and you have decent attackers. And that is the key here. You've got decent attackers, you've taken some prizes, you've got some switching options left. You're not in a perfect position. But one of the things we've seen from Hermanni here, which I really like, they went slow at the beginning of the game. Yeah. They're not using a bunch of switches and benching a bunch of Comfey. They're going, I can get to Lost Zone 7 in, I don't know, 4 turns, but it doesn't matter because my opponent isn't putting any offensive pressure on me.
And I think it's going to be something worth noting as Azul does play an Arven, start his turn and grab a Nest Ball and a Hero's Cape. Lost Mine is really good if you can get to 10 in the Lost Zone. To be able to spread 12 damage counters. You can't penny 2 Pokemon at the same time, as Azul is going to play that Hisuian Heavy Ball and see if he can take anything from there. But Lost One will be fantastic in this matchup, I feel. And let's see, does take the Chi-Yu, very, very helpful at discarding cards from your opponent's deck, like Jealousy Singe for 1 fire energy, discards the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Came in handy in his top 4 match, where in game 1, where he decked out John Eng with that.
Yeah, absolutely did. Worked out rather nicely. He waited till John had 2 cards remaining in deck, and the second John was down to 2 cards in deck, out came Chi Yu, using the Jealously Singe to discard the last 2, and that was how Azul wrapped up game 1 of his top 4 match with John Eng. So here's a nest ball, and now we could see a Mimikyu coming down here, potentially. The problem with Mimikyu is that it doesn't really help against much in the deck, which is kind of annoying. Also, it doesn't actually even stop Roaring Moon because, of course, it stops damage, and Roaring Moon is an instant KO. So that kind of makes Mimikyu a bit rubbish. So getting another Rotom, potentially risky, given what Hermanni did to the last one.
So we are going to see a counter catcher there from Azul as Nestball comes out. Rotom going to bring up Hermanni's own Rotom, get it in the active. Going to bench the Chi Yu, attach Fire Energy and Hero's Cape to the active. That's a heroic Snorlax there with 250 hit points, as we do see instant charge being used. That's going to end Azul's turn and draw 3. Oh, maybe not.
Now
there we go.
One other thing to point out about Hermanni's list here, I'm not seeing Boss's orders.
No.
We've got a counter catcher, but it's not going to work because he's going to be ahead all game.
Yep.
We've got a prime catcher, which ain't going to work because it's already been played. That's basically it. So although Azul has a bunch of very enticing, gusting targets on his bench, Hermanni has no way to actually gust them up and get them.
Nope, that's where Sableye Lost Mine will be the only way for Hermanni to access those benched Pokemon. But to be fair, it's a very good way of doing it, as it is now Hermanni's turn. Looks like has the Iron Hands in hand. Did take the Crown Runner off the prize cards, I should say, as we do see it there. We are going to see Concealed Cards activation. We're going to discard a Water to draw 2. Switch card, very helpful, and a Comfey.
Yeah, I do like the idea here of just using Sableye to soften a bunch of Pokemon up to essentially bring them into Iron Hand's range.
Okay.
If you can fire off a few Lost Mine. Lost Mine's not very good at KOing very much in this deck. No. Everything's got more than 120 HP. But the idea of softening them up to, like you said, make sure not everything can be saved to a penny, but also bringing them into range of something like an Iron Hand could be fun. Do remember there's only 1 Mirage Gate left. 2 have been played, 1 got Lost Zoned. So there's only 1 Mirage Gate remaining available. So you can't even get Iron Hands rolling this turn because you can only attach free energy.
Looks like Hermanni is debating whether to play that Mirage Gate as well. It is in hand. Does play it. Does bench the Iron Hands EX as well. That special illustration rare one, as we do see Lightning Energy and Dark Energy get attached.
It is interesting to note, Azul's clearly eyeing up that Chi Yu. And we have got Misfortune Sisters that could potentially come down as well. So we could start seeing Misfortune Sisters combined with Chi Yu. You could be milling 3, 4, 5, up to 7 cards in a turn. Okay, 7's unrealistic, but it happened.
It did happen.
So
we are going to see the Pokestop coming down there from Hermanni. Sorry, just to cut you off there. We do see the Pokestop activation as well. And it's going to be 3-hitter.
Yeah, Misfortune Sisters would have been great right about now. We had at least 3
yeah,
cards.
it would have been at least a great point, actually.
But here's what's important. Azul just saw a switch go into hand. Now, we also know there's a switch card in hand. We know there's 2 switching options in hand. Azul only knows there's 1, but that's enough to have a cheeky go with Eri. So if I'm Azul, I'm eyeing up that Eri for next turn, and you will get potentially 2 hits off of it as we see Star Alchemy being used on that Rotom.
Let's see what the Star Alchemy will grab. Star Alchemy's V-Star ability on that Forestall Stone, letting you grab any card you like from your deck. Didn't quite get to see what it was there. I'm sure we'll see it soon enough.
Yeah, he got it very quickly, put it straight down on the board, and you're like, well, I want to see what it is. Like, there's a lot of people watching this.
A lot of people watching.
We all want to know what that card is. You don't have to show us all, but give us a little peek. We want to see.
Hopefully we see it straight away. It could be an insta-play. Let's see. Was it a Lost? I think it was Lost Vacuum.
Yeah, it was Lost Vacuum. And you're about to have it confirmed because it's coming down to be played. Gee whiz, I wonder what the choice is going to be. Straight onto that Hero's Cape. And that's kind of a little bit of karmic retribution there because, of course, Azul has been going after A-Specs all day. For 2 days, in fact. Hermanni's now gone after Azul's A-Spec.
Yep, that's Ace Specs in the lost zone, and I really like this play. The Roaring Moon can use Calamity Storm, take another prize card, and the amount of prizes that Roaring Moon can take without using Frenzy Gouging is really important, because you can use Frenzy Gouging twice. It would KO you, but the Roaring Moon can just take 2 prize cards, well, 2 cards, I should say, via Frenzied Gouging. That Roaring Moon's put in a lot of work, Ross.
It really has put in a lot of work, and I love Hermanni's board here. The Roaring Moon's putting in work, but look, I know Sableye hasn't used Lost Mine yet, and we've mentioned it a couple of times, but let's face it, it's sitting on the bench with Psychic Energy attached. Hermanni is also thinking about Lost Mine. It's just not been the most important thing yet. Now, the thing that makes me a little bit sad is the Iron Hands. 2 energy, you would need 2 manual attachments to get working, but Misfortune Sisters is being played here.
There's not a lot of cards in that deck, Wash, you know?
There's not a lot of cards in that deck. We could see a milling action
Switch
here.
card and a switch!
5
hitter!
Off of the Misfortune
gracious
Sisters.
Me!
And it includes a switch card. Was there a switch as well, you said?
There was a switch and a switch card and a super rod. Goodness gracious me, who invited these Misfortune Sisters to the party?
Oh, they are doing more work here than they've ever done before. When you find them in the game, they're just standing around waiting to be challenged. That is not what's happening in this game. They are being a lot more proactive. Azul really making great use of that Misfortune Sisters. And I don't think we're quite at Chi Yu stage yet, because it will give up 2 prizes, but we are not far away from Azul being able to finish off the game with a Chi Yu if we carry on in this mode. But we could still see a pair of Frenzied Gouging.
We really could. I can't. I've seen 2 5-hit Misfortune Sisters from Azul. Goodness gracious me, Azul's going to end the turn there with that instant charge. That's 5 cards that Hermanni has just lost. Is over to Hermanni now. What can you do? How do we get back in this game? Still in a very good position, but that's a lot of switching cards gone now. As far as my calculations are correct, Prime Catch has been gone. 4 switch and 2 switch cards.
He's only playing 3 switch.
Oh, it shows my calculations wrong then.
There's probably only 1 switching card left is where we're going with this.
Yes.
Maybe 2. There are not many left at all. And are they all in hand?
Yeah, I think so. So there's 1 switch card in hand. I can see that. I think, we see the discard pile there.
There is a chance that Eri could actually take out the last remaining switch cards that Hermanni's got here. And again, Azul knows there's 1 in hand. Because we saw it. Oh, here comes the Frenzied Gouging. 1-hit KO on that Snorlax. We don't care if you've got a tool to make you beefier. So now we are really coming down to it. Hermanni's got 2 prizes left to take, but no gusting. There will not be a Gust Chi Yu or Rotom in the active and KO it. There is no option for Hermanni to gust here. So whatever Azul leaves in the active is what Hermanni has to attack. Hermanni's got very few cards left in deck, though. I mean, I would love to see another cheeky Misfortune Sisters.
I'm sure you would. But as it stands now, if Azul can't play Ring Around the Rosy with his active, he will have to leave a 2 prizer in the active. So does have to do some maneuvering. Could use Penny to promote a Pokemon, play Penny, pick it up, put down a 1 prizer. Let's see if Azul can do that. Because as it stands now, that would be game over.
Well, Chi Yu does have a 1 retreat cost and an energy attack, so we can definitely retreat the Chi Yu. That's not going to be a huge issue.
This is actually a real crazy poke here. There was a Misfortune Sisters and an Eri. Azul opted to go for the Eri, and we know there are switching cards in that hand.
So this could be it. Again, the counts, it's awkward to keep hold of, but I think there is a chance that these are the last switching cards. I think they are. Oh, wait, he's gone Super Rod and Switch Card, I believe. That looks to be what he's going for. Super Rod and a switch card. I think that might be all the switching cards.
I think it is.
There might be a switch card left. I think that might be all the switching cards. So bringing up a Comfey or a Rotom or a Radiant Greninja with a Snorlax active could be the game for Azul here.
Is he debating going for the KO?
Oh, Flame Surge does do 100 damage.
Wow, love that. Didn't expect to see that Flame Surge. 100 damage, going to KO that Roaring Moon. And Azul takes 2 prize cards. I wonder how often that's come up this weekend for him. And Hermanni is back. Over to him now.
Hermanni doesn't have anything that can KO a Chi-Yu.
No, 109. I was just thinking that's actually quite an awkward number. We know the Mirage Gates are gone, so Super Rod plus Mirage Gate isn't going to get you there. So
Radiant Greninja will be 10 damage short because it hits 90 plus weakness is 180.
Yep.
Cramorant would do it if it hit for weakness, but it doesn't. So, no, the only way you can one-hit KO a Chi-Yu is Roaring Moon.
Did just top deck a switch card, so that must be the last switch card there for Hermanni.
Okay, so there was one switch card remaining, but I'm pretty sure that is the last switching card in the deck, so we have got to be careful here. Oh, and Azul just wants to have another little bit of a look. You know you're counting up there. There's 2 switch card. We just see at the front there.
Oh, well, we just saw a pay retreat as well, sorry, into the Cramorant.
Yeah, Cramorant, I like this play. This is actually a great heads-up play from Hermanni because, of course, you do 110. Oh, what are you going to do? Retreat to the bench. Sableye would like a word with you on the bench. So a Psychic Energy will win the game for Hermanni next turn using that Lost Mind to KO the Chi-Yu.
Does only play 1 copy of Psychic, so we'd have to try and find a Super Rod. I think, is there another one in the hand?
He plays 4. Now, I know 1 got hit off of the Eri, but you played 4. I'm pretty sure they haven't used all 4 yet, so there should be 1 available. But a Psychic Energy will win the game with Lost Mind next turn.
Defiance Vest attached to bench Snorlax via Artisan. Penny to pick up the Chi-Yu. Snorlax, there's a counter catcher in the hand.
It will no longer win the game next turn.
There goes Chi-Yu, gets re-benched. Bravery Charm attached everywhere. These are some brave Pokemon here for Azul. Is Azul going to play that counter catcher? Azul must realise there can't be a lot of switching cards left. Does he have an Eri in hand? I can't. Oh, I'm just so excited. What's he going to do? I was going to see an instant charge.
He does play 3 copies of Eri, so it's not unusual to see another one. There will be more available, I believe. So Hermanni here, what do? You set up a great 2-hit KO with Lost Mine. But that's off the board now. Penny, frankly, ruined it for everybody. So we do just see a very quick attack for 70 because, of course, that Defiance Vest is reducing it by 40. But it should be enough. No, that's not even a 2-hit KO, is it?
No. Nope.
That's 10 away from a 2-hit KO because Snorlax has 150. But Lost Mine will get the KO next turn. Stop me if you've heard that before, because Defiance Vest stops damage, not damage counters.
Yes.
Oh, look. It's Penny, so Lost Mine's no longer an option. Stop me if you've heard that before, Shay.
We'll be hearing a lot of Penny. I can tell you that now for free. Penny for your thoughts, as it were, as we do see Power Pad there going to shuffle in 2 supporters. And I think were they both Penny there?
Yeah, 2 Penny going back with the Power Pad. And this is the point of the game we're in right now. A lot of the trickery has been done. Azul is basically going, look, you're going to attack with Cramorant, and I don't care. I'm going to Penny every turn. You've got to take a 2-prize KO. You don't have any way to gust.
As we do see the turn get passed over from an instant charge, Hermanni just going to use Spit Innocent and back over to Azul.
Remember, the second it goes to Azul's turn with 2 cards left in deck for Hermanni, that's it. That's game. That is where Chi-Yu we mill. So we're not looking at 0 cards in deck. We're looking at 2. If Azul starts a turn with 2 cards in deck for Hermanni, that's going to be game.
As we do see a Penny plus instant charge combination over to Hermanni. Let's see what it can do. Does have a switching card in hand, but can't really do a lot. Just going to see Spit Innocent. Hermanni only has 3 cards left in deck, Ross. Got to keep an eye on that over to Azul.
Misfortune Sisters, if it hits a single item card, would end the game here. Misfortune Sisters plus Chi-Yu would mill those final 3 cards and give Azul game 1. So I don't know if there is a Misfortune Sisters in hand, but I'm sure we saw one earlier. You said there was one of a Pokegear.
Yeah.
And there are 2 in the deck. So I'm not saying you have to go here now. The game looks like in a very good position. But I am saying that if you hit the Misfortune Sisters, a single hit, that's game. There is Pidgeot, I should say. Pidgeot V.
As I do see the start Alquabeans, I think that was for switch card. I was going to see Vanishing Wings to shuffle it back in. So I think you might be right. We might be seeing a Misfortune Sisters plus switch card play. We could be seeing that. I'm going to bench just Snorlax, Penny. No, we're not. There's no real reason to risk it, is there?
We're not there yet. We don't need to be there yet. Next turn, it is literally just going to be switch card, attack with Chi-Yu. That will be the game. So there's the attack from Cramorant. Wow. But now we just see Penny picking up. Chi-Yu goes in the active, and Azul takes the lead in this final. 1-0.
as Azul is going to jealously singe his way to victory there. Currently 1-0 up in his first EU regional and winning so in convincing fashion. Misfortune Sisters really stamping their authority on that game there.
And that's the thing, right? When it came down to it at the end, Hermanni's deck was only going down by 1 card a turn.
Yep.
So let's say, for argument's sake, if Azul had only hit 1 card of Misfortune Sisters, that's potentially an extra 4 turns Hermanni could have had there. The thing is, Azul had the penny loop very well established. Yeah. I'm not even sure the extra 4 turns would have done very much. No. There was a point in the game where Hermanni was taking KOs and doing significant damage. That went. And then it was just, I'll hit you for 70, and Azul was like, and penny.
Yep.
And there was even, and here's the thing, right? What you really want to do is get Snorlax into range of Iron Hands so you can have you very much for your last 2 prizes. But I didn't even mention that, and the reason I didn't mention it, Iron Hands never even had free energy on.
No.
There was no Mirage Gate left in the deck, and Iron Hands was 2 energy away from attacking, and Hermanni never even got a 3rd energy on. So it wasn't even like, oh, if this damage sticks for 1 turn, I can have you very much. No, you can't. You're 2 energy away, and you're out of Mirage Gate.
There's honestly, like, there was so many different moving parts there. The 5-hit Eri, Misfortune Sisters, Eri did get some good hits as well. And it just makes playing against these starter decks so terrifying. You can't hold your resources, you can't discard your resources, can't leave them in there. Just what do you do? Like,
you lost zone them.
True.
But then you can't use them.
Then you can't use them.
Oh, you've got to start Roaring Moon or Luminion. Obviously, you start Roaring Moon there, but why not Comfey?
And it looks like 2 copies of Darkness Energy. Does play 4, so that's not too bad. And then for Azul,
well, Misfortune Sisters and an Erica and an Eri.
Yes.
All prized, but they are generally played as multiples. Worth noting 2 Comfey and a switch card as well for Hermanni. Although, as we saw in game 1, don't expect multiple Comfey and lots of switching cards coming out early in the game. Expect a slower, more measured start, just like we saw back in game 1. And no pressure, but Twitch chat had Lost Zone. But then you said early on today, Shay,
I did.
You called it, you saw Control winning this tournament. Joe said the Lost Zone was going to win this tournament.
Wow.
Who's going to be right?
I think, well, we're going to have to find out, aren't we? As Azul does kick off our game 2 here in the Stockholm Regional Finals. Let's play some Pokemon as Azul does play that Nest Ball to grab Rotom V. And let's see what else he can do. That has led to Snorlax. That means that Roaring Moon is going to be stuck outside of switching cards. Looks like Instant Charge will be used there, ending the turn to draw 3.
Don't need very much when you're a Snorlax player. Just try and get a Snorlax in the active, and then start building towards some of those more disruption cards. Eri, Misfortune Sisters, always nice to have them early on in the game, though do remember there is 1 of each of those prize. That leaves 2 Eri and 1 Misfortune Sisters in the deck.
Looks like Hermanni is going to play that Hisuian Heavy Ball. We'll be able to liberate that Comfey from the prize cards.
And there is an argument, having 1 Comfey prize can actually be a real bonus in Lost Box decks, because it just gives you 1 more out to grabbing a Comfey in the early game, because all of a sudden, Hisuian Heavy Ball will grab you a Comfey.
Yep. That is true. Worth noting there, on putting the prize cards back, that switch card did get put right to the top. Now, traditionally, players do take prizes bottom to top. Not always. Worth keeping an eye. Oh, no. That Cold's Experiment is drawn into the Prime Catcher and a Superod. And you kind of have to keep them. But, you know, if they're in the hand, Ross, Eri could show her face again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes you know Eri is going to work beautifully. Other times, you just have a little bit of a peek. See how lucky you're feeling. And, yeah, that has worked for us all already today at times. So, yeah, I'm not saying Azul should play an Eri, but I'm saying if he did, it might be a good idea right now. Now, we do see a Comfey coming down. I mean, you could use Prime Catcher here, but it's too early. Hey, there's a switch card. So 1's been used, 1 is in the prizes, and we see a Flower selecting.
And let's see what he takes. They're going to Lost Zone the Sableye, Ross. It's his only copy, so there will be no Lost Mine action in game 2.
Well, that's the thing. In game 1, Lost Mine kept looking like a good idea and then never actually became a good idea. It never actually worked. I believe it might have been up against a Forest Seal Stone there that is also played as a singlet. So, and that happens with Lost Zone sometimes. You get 2 cards off a Comfey, you only play one of each, and you have to get rid of one of them, even though you really want them both.
We do see a nest ball being played there for Hermanni. Going to grab that Rotom V. Now, like you said, Forest Seal Stone is currently in the hand, so you can attach that and get that instant use of Star Alchemy if you so desire. And that Rotom V, it's interesting seeing Rotom V on both sides. Not something you traditionally see in a Lost Box deck, but it must be working well for Hermanni since he is in the finals.
Yeah, if you make it all the way to the final, I'm just willing to bet whatever you decided, whatever deck, whatever text, whatever you did, it must have been right.
Yes.
Because you're in the final. Now, we draw 3 with the Rotom there. Bunch of item cards again. And it does look like we are just passing back over to Azul. 3 cards in the Lost Zone. Not a bad start. And hopefully next turn or the turn after, we can start taking some prizes.
Do you see Forest Stone getting attached to Rotom V with an instant use of Star Alchemy? Oh, no! No!
No!
What's going on, Azul? What? No, Eri showing up instantly. You see that flash of pink there. That A-Spec is probably going to get sent straight to the discard pile.
Never has the word probably been less appropriate, Shay. That is definitely going to be going down.
And it's going to get Super Rod as well, Ross, most likely.
Yeah, it is.
There goes one. Yeah. What's the second one going to be?
And now Azul can have a think about the other one, but Super Rod, absolutely no question whatsoever. The Prime Catcher, always going to be the first choice there. And you can't hide it in your hand. It's pink and shiny. Oh, cheeky Mirage Gate discard maybe. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Don't mind that.
That's quite nice sometimes to get rid of that. That puts your opponent in an awkward situation.
Azul Garcia Griego, aggressive with the area and getting heavily rewarded right there. Currently 1 game up. Remember, the winner of this final earns themselves a nice grand total of $10,000 as Azul's going to end his turn there with an instant charge. What a barnstormer turn 2, Ross.
Yeah, that Eri might have just cost Hermanni thousands of dollars. Eri is putting in work in this tournament. I mean, we've only seen a couple games of Azul so far, but it seems like every time we watch a game of Azul, Eri is just coming out and putting in a massive shift. Okay, finally, we see a slightly easier Chorus's experiment. You get to keep a Lost Vacuum, you get to keep a Super Rod, but you just get rid of a Buddy Buddy Poffin.
Yep, sounds pretty safe to me. And let's see what Hermanni decides to do here as well. Just debating on what to do. Oh, goodness gracious me. Goes like on up a nest ball. It's actually a sneaky card to lose, that Mirage Gate, by the way. He really needs to use them to accelerate energy. And how that's gone, it's going to be another resource Hermanni has to try and balance. Nest ball being played, though. Grab any basic Pokemon and pop it straight onto your bench. Looked like it was Iron Up Iron Hands there. It is.
Yeah, and this might make me think you're going a little more aggressive here. You would need 2 flower selecting to get up to 7 in the Lost Zone this turn, but you can always attach. Mirage Gate, attach.
Yes, that is true. Could also use the Lost Vacuum to accelerate cards into the Lost Zone as well.
You could. Yeah, Lost Vacuum's always kind of fun, and there is a target. Well, no, it would have to be your own card that you Lost Vacuum here to get up to 7. Your own stadium or your own tool. And, yeah, now with a flower selecting, it wouldn't be. Now you could use Lost Vacuum on your opponent's tool, and that would still get 7 in the Lost Zone. And that's the other thing. If you've seen us all get rid of one of your Mirage Gate already, that makes you think maybe I need to do this Eternal 2 earlier, because actually maybe Azul is coming after my Mirage Gate here, and I don't really want him to.
Definitely not, as we do see a nest ball going to grab Hermanni there, the Radiant Greninja. Going to pop it on the bench, conceal cards, fantastic ability to draw cards throughout the game.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? You need Mirage Gate to get your good attackers out, your Roaring Moon, your Iron Hand. We saw in the last game, Cramorant ain't that good in this matchup.
No.
It does not enough to KO Snorlax, and then Penny picks it up. Brilliant.
We are going to see Pokestop coming down now. We are going to see it used. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Discard them. You can keep the items. Let's see what we get. Cramrank, gone. Cole's Experiment, gone. Basic Darkness Energy, gone.
That was not a good Pokestop at all.
I'm not sure what level Hermanni is on Pokemon Go, but that Pokestop did not like him at all.
No, that's the kind of Pokestop that gives you 2 Pokeballs and nothing else.
Oh, not those Pokestops.
I don't like those Pokestops.
No, I don't like them either. Goodness gracious. What is Hermanni opting to do here? Looks like going to eye up the concealed card. Discarding Lightning. Interesting when you've got the Iron Hands there. Going to draw into Switch, Car, and Super Rod. Again, these real powerful items are in the hand.
I need to remind you of something, Shay.
What's that?
2 Darkness Energy priced. And now there's one in a discard pile.
Right.
So right now, Roaring Moon does not have enough energy to attack. You will need to play Super Rod here just to literally have enough Darkness Energy in the deck to attack with Roaring Moon, which is your most efficient good attacker.
So what you're saying is that Roaring Moon can't really roar right now, not until those Darkness Energies do get shuffled back in. It looks like, is he debating whether to play a Super Rod there, or... Yep, Super Rod. So we are going to see them get shuffled in back in.
So after all that, it's irrelevant anyway. Now there is enough Darkness Energy in the deck. We've got 2 energy going back, 1 Lightning, obviously for the Iron Hands, 1 Darkness for the Roaring Moon. So, okay, that'll do.
That will do. We'll take that. They do get shuffled back in there for Hermanni. Let's see what else can do. So use the Flower Selector, use the concealed cards. Has got Lost Vacuum in hand. Could get rid of the Pokestop. But you might want to keep on Pokestop, so you could use Calamity Storm.
I was going to say, there's still a good argument to go after your opponent's tool. And let's be clear, that Forest Seal Stone does nothing right now.
No.
Azul has used his V-Star power, but there's still an argument to go after that, so you can keep your stadium, so you can do more damage with your Roaring Moon. But is there even a Mirage Gate in hand?
No, as we do see instant charge there. Worth noting as well, if he was to Lost Vacuum off that Forest Seal Stone, off that Rotom V from Azul, you open up the opportunity for Azul to put like a Bravery Charm or something on it, so it could be advantageous to leave it there.
Yeah, I mean, you really kind of want to leave both of them there. The Pokestop to do extra damage and the tool to just block Rotom from having another tool. Never mind.
So it is over to Azul now. Let's see what opts to do. And it looks like, I think we just see it. Yep. Not going to play. Oh, we're going to use Pokestop, I should say. Snorlax going to get sent to the discard pile, but does get to keep an Earthen Vessel and a Pokegear. Now, if that Pokegear hits an Eri, that would be a very dangerous thing indeed. Just seeing what's in that hand there, Ross.
It looks like we haven't used many switching cards so far. We've had Prime Catcher, 1 switch card with a switch card in the prizes as well.
Yes.
But, so we see a Palpad here getting just an Eri back.
I think Azul really wants this Pokegear to hit an Eri. So I think Azul's going to shuffle that one in just to make it even more likely. Let's see what it opts to do here. And
there are 3 Palpad in the list, so sometimes you can afford to just get 1 supporter card back, knowing that you've still got 2 Palpad. Now, here's an Earthen Vessel, discarding that Pidgeot V, which did do a little something last game.
Yep.
But really all it actually did was use Forest Seal Stone, which you can't do this game, so okay, fine. Discard that, get yourself a couple of energy or even 1 energy, and then really try and maximize your chances of hitting Eri off of this Pokegear, if that is what it is that Azul is looking to do.
Well, I think that Pidgeot is really good in the late game with its Vanishing Rings ability. It can basically mean your deck can go infinite. You will never deck out, but Azul does play a Super Rod to try and get it back. Big Pokegear here, folks. Arven. Whoop. Team Yell's cheer.
Oh, look.
No, so not quite Eri or Misfortune Sisters going to grab an Arven.
Not what Azul was looking for. Hermanni sighs a sigh of relief here, knowing that he has potentially dodged a bullet. If it was an Eri, that could have gone rather bad. But let's not pretend that Hermanni's in a great position here. Azul showed last game. What have you seen, Shay? What have you seen?
An Erica's Invitation could grab... Oh, no! That Lumineon is going to get forced into the active spot. And with the Snorlax in the active, it won't be retreating anywhere.
And if I remember the ruling correctly, I think Azul gets to choose whether Hermanni gets to activate the ability. Do you think he's going to let him?
Definitely not. There will be no Luminous Sign activation. I can tell you that now for free, as Azul is going to end the turn to draw 3 cards via instant charge.
The one thing worth noting here, there are 3 water energy in the deck for this Lost Zone.
Okay,
so you can legit use Aqua Return, and not only do you get to use it, but you get the Luminion and the energy back into your deck. but you probably have to burn a Mirage Gate to do this efficiently.
Yep.
And although you get the energy and you get the Luminion back, you don't actually get the Mirage Gate back, which can be annoying.
Oh, we're going to see Pokestop going to grab the switch card, discarding a Darkness Energy again, and a Town Store. Going to have to keep an eye on that, so Azul knows that there is a switch card. I mean, there's a high chance Hermanni will play that switch card to get that Luminion back out of the way. But Azul definitely knows now there's at least one switching card there. Goodness gracious me.
There is also an argument, and it wasn't relevant last game because there was no Mirage Gate left. Luminion can take out Chi-Yu.
They can.
Fish on fish attacking.
Yeah, fish on fish combat, as it were. So let's see what Hermanni does there. Gonna just debating on what to do. That's a big accordion hand. There's a lot of options there. Looks like we are going to see Star Alchemy being used there for Hermanni. Going to be able to grab any card he likes from his deck.
His hand looks like it might be even bigger than his deck right now, and yet he still doesn't have what he needs. Oh, once again, just putting it, didn't even show us.
No, I was leaning right close to the screen there, folks, to make sure I could see what it was he took. Well, unfortunately, the angle did not let me. But whatever it is, it could be an instant play, though. Looks like it was a Mirage Gate, I think.
It was a Mirage Gate there, so that is going to potentially build up. I mean, Roaring Moon, you would imagine, would be the play here.
So we are going to see Lost Vacuum going to get rid of the Forest Seal Stone and a Buddy Buddy Puffin. So now Hermanni should be at 8 in the Lost Zone. Mirage Gate activation. So will we be seeing an Aqua Return? Will we be seeing Iron Hands like Lightning Angels getting moved to the front? Let's see what it is. And it is 2 onto the Iron Hands. 1 Lightning and 1 Water.
Well, worth noting that Snorlax does not have a tool on right now, so Arm Press will KO Snorlax.
Yes.
Free energy, 160, will KO Snorlax. So that's probably where we are thinking here. I don't think we would ever see an attack with Luminion unless you were absolutely desperate and out of switching cards, or there was something like a Chi-Yu on which you could take 2 prizes. And it's really annoying because, remember, the only gusting Hermanni plays is Prime Catcher and Counter Catcher. Prime Catcher already got hit with an Eri.
Yep.
And as soon as Hermanni takes a prize, he's probably going to be ahead for the whole game.
Yes.
I don't think Counter Catcher is ever going to be on the board here.
Nope.
So once again, no gusting. No gusting all game. We don't see many games with no gusting. Here is the Arm Press on the Snorlax, takes a KO. Hermanni goes up 1 prize to 0. But of course, as we know, Shay, this game, it's not always completely about prizes now, is it?
No, definitely not. We saw in game 1 that Hermanni was able to get off to a barnstorm out of a lead. We do see Pokestop activation. That's a triple miss. Unfortunately, Azul might not be a high level on Pokemon Go as well. Azul does kind of need to develop the board a little bit here, though. Would be quite nice. Going to see Pokegear. Look at top 7. Grab 1 supporter card you find there. And that's a miss.
Oh, that's a complete whiff. No supporter cards whatsoever from that Pokegear 3.0. So, unfortunately not. I'm not sure what Pokegear 1.0 does, but no one plays it, so apparently it's not as good.
Might have been more helpful than Pokegear 3.0 in that scenario, though. What has Azul got in the hand? We've seen Arven, so we'll be able to at least grab like a Nest Ball. I think there was a basic Fire Energy in hand as well, so we'll be able to retreat the Roam if so desired. There is the Arven. Let's see what this grabs. A tool card and an item.
I mean, if there's no Snorlax available, you might well be looking for an item that gets a Snorlax. We got a Switch Cart and a Defiance Vest. And obviously, I think Azul's kind of figured out, knew already, didn't have a tool last turn, of course. You can't put a Snorlax in the active without one of those tools on right now.
Yep.
Because Iron Hands does too much damage. So you can't just put it down. It looks like it's going to be a Mimikyu here. And of course, that is a very nice option against an Iron Hands. Not only does it block an Iron Hands from dealing any damage, it also forces the use of one of those switching cards that are a very, very valuable commodity. Oh, and Chi-Yu's hitting the bench as well with a Fire Energy before Rotom draws 3 cards, and we go back to Hermanni here.
I wonder if Azul's worked out that Hermanni doesn't play Boss's Order, so he can just free to bench that Chi-Yu now. As it is over to Hermanni, let's see what he can do. That's Mimikyu in the active Safeguard is completely immune to damage from the Iron Hands. Not immune to Frenzy Gouging though, but let's see what Hermanni does. Debating whether to spin that Pokestop again. Let's see what happens. Discard top 3 cards of your deck. Keep any items. Everything else gets discarded. Nest Ball, Colress, Switch. So that's more powerful switching cards in the hand, but did need a switch this turn if Hermanni wants to attack.
Yeah, you will need to switch. I mean, a Mirage Gate Energy switch is really what you... But then you'd have to Frenzied Gouging. But you really don't want a Frenzied Gouging here. You can't even use something like a Radiant Greninja.
Nope.
Because you would only actually be doing 50 damage, and that wouldn't get a KO on the Mimikyu. Cramorant... I think Cramorant would actually just get a KO, wouldn't it? Because it would be 110 minus 40 is 70, and that's what Mimikyu's got. So Cramorant would get the KO if...
It was a bench spot.
There was a bench spot available, which there is not. So I think for what you've got on the board right now, kind of has to be Roaring Moon.
We do see that Chorus Experiment does grab.
There's a Mirage Gate available if you want it.
But there is also Dark Energy there. Is there enough Dark Energy in the deck to even accelerate? One got discarded. Not too long ago. You need...
No, there's one attached to... Is that a water or a darkness?
It's a water. It's a water.
Oh, it is a water. My color blindness foils me again. There's still 2 darkness energy in the prizes, so there's only 2 available to play with.
So let's see, does this Super have any to... Okay, so we should be fine. They're going to shuffle back in the Cramorant, 1 water and 1 basic darkness as well.
And there's Darkness Energy in hand, so yeah, we're absolutely fine. We've got a Mirage Gate, Darkness Energy in deck, there's a Darkness Energy in hand, there's a Switch in hand, so yeah, Frenzied Gouging will be on the board this turn, and given that Hermanni just played a Mirage Gate to get energy onto the Roaring Moon, it's probably a fair bet he's going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what though, Ross, that deck is not very big there from Hermanni. Does have, I was going to say Roxanne will never be able to play that, but does play Super Rod to be able to get some cards back at the very least. We do see a switch being used there. We're going to see a manual attachment for the turn, so a Frenzied Gouging going to be used to get Hermanni a single prize card, but there's a colossal 200 damage to itself.
Yeah, and we saw in the last game, Chi-Yu attacking to KO the Roaring Moon was actually kind of hilarious, because here's the thing, Chi-Yu is weak to water, not weak to lightning. Iron Hands doesn't do 190.
Nope.
You need 2 Iron Crown or an Iron Crown and a Future Booster Energy Capsule to get yourself up to that 200 mark, and neither of those cards are in Hermanni's deck. So we might see a repeat of what we saw last game. We see 2 supporters, including Misfortune Sisters, hit the discard of Pokestop, whereby you just attack with Chi-Yu and be like, boom, you can't KO me. And I'm going to penny next turn. Yep. We know he's going to penny next turn.
We know he's going to penny next turn. Could use a Misfortune Sister. I mean, Misfortune Sisters plus Jealousy Singe could actually, depending on how many you hit, could be a bit of a risk that I don't think is strictly necessary, but it is an option.
I mean, if I was Azul, I would 100% be trying to Misfortune Sisters this turn, because you don't need to hit very much at all, and then you can just go for the game. Here is a Pokegear 3.0. I don't think we've seen Penny.
Yeah, Penny, the second and third card there. We'll see a Team Yell's chair as well, and an Iono.
Yeah, we saw Penny, but we didn't see Misfortune Sisters.
No, we didn't see
Erica's as well. There's 4 supporters there that are an option. Unfortunately, not one of them is not Misfortune Sisters. Can you get a Pokegear off a... Can you get a counter catcher of Pokegear?
No, doesn't look like it. So instead, going to go for the Penny. By the looks of it, there we go. It's going to say not quite. Can't quite grab counter catch off a Pokegear. Can grab Penny though. So it looks like that will be our target as Azul shuffles it up.
Unfortunately not, but when you've been playing Control for, what, there were 14 rounds plus, so we've had, this is round 17 for Azul right now. That is a lot of rounds.
That is a ridiculous amount of rounds, as it looks like just debating on what to do here. We're going to see Penny, see Super Rod, I think it's Erica's. I didn't see any other supporters realistically. Penny.
Honestly, I think just Fire Energy and KO just get the KO here. Because the problem is, that could be a problem. That Roaring Moon can be a problem. It can KO your Rotom, it can KO your Snorlax. There is a Stadium in play you can use to discard, do 220 damage. You only ever actually need to use Frenzied Gouging to KO Mimikyu. Everything else is in range of Calamitous Storm in the entire deck. Oh, well, okay, other than something with Hero's Cape on.
Yes.
So you kind of need to get rid of that before it becomes a massive problem.
As we do see Mimikyu there getting played, and we are going to... Doesn't that Artisan should still be in play, I think? Yep, there we go. I was going to say, I don't know how that got discarded, but there we go. It is back. As we do see, looks like a Penny going to get eyed up there. Maybe going to move the Chi-Yu, or we're going to see a Jealousy Singe. Yep, we're going to see Penny. There we go. Mimikyu in the active. Don't mind that, because I guess this is the same as KOing it, right? So if you want to frenzied gouging, you're going to KO yourself at instant charge. This
is very much a similar kind of thing. You can take the KO on Mimikyu. It's not quite the same because it will give Hermanni a third prize, but Azul's basically saying, I don't think one extra prize is that relevant for you in this matchup the way it's headed. I'm not going to bother wasting resources to KO you. I'm going to let you KO yourself.
As it looks like, yep, we're going to see Frenzy gouging Roaring. We're going to KO itself to take one prize card. And Hermanni looks like going to promote the Iron Hands. And let's see what Azul promotes here. That deck for Hermanni is not looking very good at all.
No, there's how
many? Three cards, I make that?
Yep.
Three cards in Hermanni's deck, yes.
So there's two options here if you're Azul. Misfortune Sister's always fun to try and see if one of those cards is an item card you just win the game, or something like Eri going, look, you've only got 3 cards in deck. I think there's a decent chance you've got Super Rod in hand. I think I can get a lot of value out of an Eri here.
So it looks like Azul's going to start his turn off here. Looks like we're going to see an Artisan activation. Grab any basic non-Warbox Pokemon, pop it straight onto your bench. And let's see what Azul can do. There's a multitude of options. Could go for the win this turn. Doesn't strictly need to, though. Could still be patient. Looks like we're going to see another Mimikyu being eyed up, actually. Now, that Mimikyu would be a mighty fine struggle for Hermanni to deal with.
Yeah, that Mimikyu is going to be a pain. Now, it's got Bravery Charm, I believe, not Defiance Vest, which is relevant, of course, because Defiance Vest way better against Cramorant.
Yes.
Oh, no. No, Bravery Charm is better. Yeah, it is better. Cramorant gets a KO through Defiance Vest. I apologize, I was thinking of something else. No, Bravery Charm means it can tank a hit from Cramorant. It's way better. Bravery Charm is the better option here.
So with 2 cards left in Hermanni's deck, we'll have to play that Super Rod now, because that Jealousy Singe is just there staring on the bench saying you cannot end your turn with 2 cards in your deck, because I will just Jealousy Singe them straight to the discard pile. Now there is a Super Rod in hand, there it is.
Yep.
So we'll be able to play that to get back 3, any 3 combination of basic energy and or Pokemon. Roaring Moon, a Water Energy and a Darkness Energy.
Yeah, interesting, because, of course, we did see a Darkness Energy taken off the prizes. So you don't have to recover both the Darkness Energy. One came out the prizes. It's fine. Now, do we have Lost Vacuum available for Hermanni here?
Yes, it's in the hand.
Because, okay, then, yeah, you can just Lost Vacuum it and attack with Cramorant. You're good.
Yep, Lost Vacuum. We can see it at the front of the hand. We'll have to remove 1 card from the hand as well, but it would be getting a KO. There is multiple switching cards in Hermanni's hand as well.
It's garbage.
Yeah,
Not always, but in this game, it's garbage. Get rid of it. You don't need it.
It's pretty useless. You will never be behind on prizes. So that Bravery Charm has been removed. We're going to see a switch card being used as well. That's going to switch the Iron Hands out of the active. And get that Cramorant in there, who you are correct now will be able to KO that Mimikyu thanks to that Bravery Charm being removed. Spit innocently, not so innocent if you're that Mimikyu, as that would be a KO.
For those of you counting along at home, we're pretty sure there's 3 switch card used. 1 still in the prizes, Prime Catcher is gone, and 1 of the 3 switch are gone. So that leaves 2 switching options. Remember, the second Hermanni runs out of switching cards, Azul can just bring something active, whack a Snorlax in the active, and that it will be game.
Yep.
You can't retreat, you can't attack. You know, Rotom, great thing, you could go there, or Comfey would work as well. So there's targets, is what I'm saying.
As that will be Hermanni's turn there. Over to Azul. Going to start the turn off by promoting a Snorlax. Going to Artisan and get another Snorlax out. Got all the boys out there, as it were. Block party. And let's see what Azul does. Does have the Hero's Cape available. There's an Eri.
Oh, what's he going for here? Switching cards, Super Rods. There's the switch. Oh, that's it, I think.
That's it. That's all the switching cards
in the deck. I believe... Yep. And we've been trying to count along very carefully this game. There is 1 switch card remaining in the prizes, but you can't get that unless you take some prizes, which you can't do if you can't get out of the active into an attacker. So there is a... Now here comes a counter catcher.
Oh, no.
Comfey or Rotom. I think either is fine here. You're going to go for the Rotom. Obviously, Comfey can keep flower selecting. I think that's game for Azul.
Yep, we are in the end game now for Azul. As we have been counting, that should be all the switching cards gone from Hermanni, and that Rotom is just going to be forced to stay in the active. Pass over to Azul, who's just going to pass it back. Two cards left in deck,
You don't pass it back, you cheat, you!
I think he did, though. I think he did.
You don't need to be honest.
And let's see what happens there. Gonna draw another card. There we go. Can't quite see how many's deck, but I think it's under 2 now, Ross. The writing could be on the wall. There is the concession. Azul is our Stockholm regional champion, playing in his first EU regional and takes it all home in convincing fashion with that block party deck. What a performance!
Yeah, that was pretty nice. You called it beginning of the weekend, Jay, or beginning of today. Control had a very good meta game here, and what do we see? We see a really good player